Welcome to Life with Michael Jameson. My name's MJ, and today I'm going to be discussing my phone history. So I'm going to be talking about all the phones that I had growing up, or not even growing up, just ever really, all the mobile telephones that I've had. So we start off in the year 2000. Yes, this is when I got my first mobile phone. I think I just said yes, not this. This is when I got my first mobile phone. It was a Phillips C12 on BT Cellnet. I think that was the only network you could get this phone on. And like I say, it was my first experience with a telephone. I loved the. I'm not sure if it gave you if it gave you actual freedom, but it definitely gave you a sense of freedom. Loved the phone for that. Loved sending text messages, contacting pals, and all that kind of thing. All of the associated world that having a mobile telephone opened up. It was great, and it was a nice phone, very serviceable. It was quite small. Had a little aerial on it. The buttons were quite nice. They were rubbery, but it was quite a good feel for the buttons. Fine. Yeah, decent first phone. Then I believe the next one I had was in the year 2002, I think. Most of these years are slightly roughly, apart from like the more recent ones where I can literally track it back because I've been getting a new phone every 2 years due to contract. Being an adult, you pay for things. But in 2002 I had a Nokia 3330. So I skipped the 5110, I didn't get a 5110. Which was of course that very popular phone at the time. It seemed like everyone had a 5110. They had all the fascias that you could buy, tons of faces you could get. But I had a 3330. Now, a 3330 for all intents and purposes was really just a 3310. The faces that you could get for the 3310, they worked on it, and I had a number of those. I inherited this phone from my mum. Personally, I think that it was more aesthetically pleasing than the 5110. I think most people around that time either had like a 5110 or a 3310, or maybe they moved from the 51 to the 31 to the 3310 rather. But just really nice phone, very solid. It definitely felt like a technological step up from the Philips C12, which felt very basic. This just felt like a really good phone. It was good to use, nice buttons, and I think it's fair to say that it really made me become a Nokia sort of person, a Nokia fan. I think I had like maybe one or so phones for a very short period of time. Don't know where I got them from, but I seem to remember using like a 5210, I think it was, for a very short amount of time. But then I did have, again, for a very short amount of time, I did have a Motorola Razr. I think I inherited this one from my sister, and I think, like I say, I don't believe I had it for very long. Didn't like it at all. It looked fairly cool. But I've always been sort of in everything in my life, always been more function over style. Didn't like the buttons. Yeah, the buttons was the main issue on this. The buttons were absolutely horrible. Then in 2005, so we've moved up from school. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I did have my 3330, I did have faces on it. My particular favourites were a luminous yellow fascia. I also had like a metallic cyan fascia. I remember going to Bovenden Market and buying a whole pack of fascias. So, memories. So, like I say, so we transitioned. Oh, I should also say, I left that phone in a park once in Chesham, and the owner, so not the owner, the guy who found it rang my mum up and said, yeah, this dude's left his phone here. Do you want to come and get it? And I think we gave him like a thank you card or something, like thank you for not stealing it. So there's good people out there, folks, although that was what, 16 years ago, 16, 17 years ago probably. Fuck. 17 years ago I left my phone in that park. I am so old. I am unbearably old. Oh, I feel sick. I'm so old. Right, so we moved through school now, guys. The moral of that story is I've never left a phone anywhere before, and I treat my phones really well. I've dropped one phone once, I think, which I dropped a phone on the floor probably 5 years ago. That's it. So, yeah, we move up through college now. The next one I got was the Nokia 3300. Now, if you remember it, this was like the music phone. Excellent phone. Really, really good fun. I was sort of I wouldn't like to say I was the talk of the town, but I was a very popular boy in school. No, that's not true either. That's not true. I was popular in college for having that because it was like the first phone that played MP3s basically. So we'd just be banging out the MP3s in the middle of lesson. I'd be like, yeah, I'm an absolute legend basically. So that was really cool, and I just really liked the phone. I like the sideways look, visually very nice, nice buttons again, and just hammered home the Nokia brand loyalty again. Then I think 2006 I had a Nokia 3220. This was the light up phone that had all the lights on the side. It had loads of lights on the side. Had a personalised back. Didn't actually have this one pictured. I had the sort of navy one, the dark blue one. But it doesn't matter anyway, because like I say, you've got a customisable back, so you can print something out with the template and put it in your own phone. So you've got your own picture showing on the back. These lights were incredible. Around this time I was hanging out at the comic shop and quite a lot, and like working there and playing and going there socially, playing games and doing clubs and all this sort of thing. And I remember that entertaining the comic shop crowd quite a lot. It's just such a great phone and tied to really great memories as well. Just amazing ringtones as well. 2006, I believe it was about, well, I say 2006 was 3220 as well. I think that this was around 2006 as well. I got a Nokia N70. I inherited this from my friend's dad, Michael's dad. Fine, good phone. The sort of the special one about this one was that I believe it was one of the first phones that was internet enabled. Except I don't think I had like internet on contract or anything, so I couldn't really use it. It was fine. Not an amazing phone, I'd say. Then I believe it was around 2007 that I got a Nokia, I think it was a 6288 or 6288. From what I can see online, I don't really remember the name of it. Looking at, there's a few different models that all look very similar, and I don't really recognise any of the names, but I certainly had it for a couple of years. This was much more of sort of like a grown-up phone. There wasn't really any gimmicks with this one. It had a slide-up screen, which we'd had a few buttons on as well, and then to reveal the keypad. So it was really, really nice. It felt really nice. It was really well built. You could feel the quality, and it was just very functional. Incredibly functional, like I say, quite grown up, no gimmicks. It was just a really solid phone, and I think I had that for a couple of years because of course at this stage I've entered work now, so I'm paying for my own phone, and this is probably where I'm syncing up to a 2-yearly schedule. But really loved that phone. I remember it had a little hole for like putting charms on, so I had Pokemon charms on there quite often. And then my last Nokia, the end of my Nokia brand loyalty, was in 2009. I bought the Nokia N900. I absolutely loved this phone. Still to this day, I think it's, well, not now obviously because it's 10 years old, but I think for the time it was an amazing phone. It had a full touch screen on the front. You flip that up, again, really nicely built. You flipped it up and you had a full keyboard there. So again, this was heavy on the internet. This was all internet. It ran emulators. You could go on the web on it. All this thing. I absolutely loved this phone at the time. I have very fond memories of it, and I have very fond memories of showing off the incredibly high quality screen. And I remember definitely feeling like at that time I was definitely like, yeah, I literally have a better phone than everyone. And that was a great feeling. Yeah, even if it wasn't true. But it basically was true, because I guess the iPhone came out around that time as well. Maybe just after, but people were like, oh, iPhone touchscreen. And I was like, guys, I had a touchscreen last year. I was going on the internet last year. I was playing music last year. I was playing music 5 years ago, guys. But fine, great. N900 super phone. Right, and then 2011 through to present is nothing to write. Nothing to write home about, because they've certainly all been the best phones I've had. But 2011 I had a Samsung Galaxy S2, 2013 I had an S4, 2015 I had an S6, 2017 I got an S8, that's the one that I've got now. And next year I'll upgrade again. I don't know what I'll get. May well get a Samsung Galaxy S10, I guess it would be. But yeah, I've been perfectly perfectly happy and satisfied with the Samsung Galaxy phones. They're well built. This is one of the ones that I dropped. Not this one, but one of the Samsung Galaxies is the one that I dropped on concrete and it didn't break. I don't use cases because I'm actually, despite having dropped it once, I'm actually very, very careful with my phones. I treat them just with the utmost care, because it's basically what, like a £1,200 computer that you carry around with you everywhere. So I really do look after them. I hold them in a very sensible way. But yeah, no, I'm never going to drop another one again. Like, I'm not. And if I do, the cost of 10-15 years worth of insurance and never having had a problem with a phone, yeah, fine. But yeah, good. So that was my phone history. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. 10 minutes long. Hopefully it wasn't boring. Don't say that. If you're new, please subscribe for more. Thank you. What were your favourite phones? Let me know in the comments below and things.